Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do a bodyguard slash protector romance Rex video. Long ass title, but you get it. This is actually one of my favorite tropes to film. This is one of my favorite tropes to read about, just because something about the whole bodyguard falling in love with you, just, you know, it hits the spot. At least for me, it does. So let's just jump right in with the Rex. I have 5 Rex for you guys. So let's just jump right in. First one I want to talk about is The Protector by Kresley Cole. This is about Alexander and Natalie. So basically, Natalie has been hiring private investigators to search out her family. She is adopted and she knows that she's Russian. She wants to get to know more about her background and her family. So she's been hiring private investigators to search for her father, for her family. And each one of these private investigators start showing up dead, or they just leave her without any answers. She never gets word back from any of them if they had found anything. Now, Alexander is the enforcer of a mafia that is run by Natalie's dad. Natalie's dad sends out Alexander to locate her and find her and keep her safe. He has been watching her for a long time, and her dad sends him because he is the one that he trusts, and because Natalie has been digging around in her history. Other enemies have picked up on her trying to figure out some information, therefore looking up information about her and who she might be and why she's looking into things that she shouldn't be. So anyways, fast forward, they have this really cute meet cute where Alexander is sitting at a bar and Natalie is at this bar with her friends, and she looks over and she sees Alexander and she immediately is like, wow, like this, he isn't like any other guys. He is foreign. That's what he is. He is big, muscular, covered in tattoos. He has this aura about him, and there's instant chemistry from her side because you haven't gotten his point of view yet. So she's like, fuck it, and she goes up to him to see if he wants to, you know, get out of there with her. And, you know, props to Natalie because she has some balls, because Alexander is an intimidating dude and he is just dressed in this tux and super professional, just absolutely fine ass man. Okay, so she has the balls to go up to him and he rejects her, and she's just like completely caught off guard by that. And so she goes home and she's like, well, I can take care of myself, I don't need no man, so period. And she goes home, she's, you know, in her bathtub enjoying herself, when she looks up and Alexander is standing in the doorway and he's just like, get up, we're leaving. And then she's like, who are you and who sent you? And he's like, your father. And so he literally kidnaps her, puts her on a plane to Russia to meet her father. And this is their love story, and it's very forbidden. He is her bodyguard. She is his boss's daughter, but they just really can't seem to stay away from each other. They have this instant attraction. Clearly, the plot in this book is amazing, just as amazing as the romance. It's spicy, it's muddy. It has this slight BDSM element to it. Alexander is just smitten with Natalie, and Natalie just needs to navigate her life and what she wants to do. And as the plot thickens, so does the relationship, and you get to see whether their relationship is going to last or not, or endure all the trials that come with her being part of the mafia. So it is so good. It is one of my favorite books. I gave it 5 stars. I have read this book twice and maybe skimmed it like a 3rd time. I honestly want to go back and reread it now that I'm talking about it, but it's so good. Alexander was one of my first book boyfriends and he does not disappoint. So if you're looking for a mafia related bodyguard romance, you should definitely pick this one up. Speaking about mafia slash bodyguard romances, I also have another one by Cora Reilly. This one is called Bound by Temptation. This one is about Liliana and Romero. So Liliana has a lot of sisters, which they also have books. Her sisters are already married off and in love with who their happily ever ever after is. And so she naively assumes that because her sisters are already married off and there's alliances in place, that she might be able to choose who she gets to marry. And Liliana has always been in love with Romero, who is her bodyguard and has always been her bodyguard. That is not the case. Her father ends up having an arranged marriage set up for her to this old, ugly, terrible guy. And so this is Romero's and Liliana's love story about how they can conquer this. It's very angsty, very forbidden, because you can feel the gravity of the situation. You can feel that if they get caught, that Romero could die, like he will be killed, you know, like it's very angsty, very deep, but they just can't seem to stay away from each other. Like Romero wants Liliana for himself. Eventually they obviously get together, but this marriage is still happening. It's very much back and forth whether they're going to run away or how they're gonna deal with this. And eventually there's like nothing that you can do, and the plot thickens again, and it all just plays into it. I found this book very entertaining. I loved the bodyguard aspect. I loved the forbidden aspect of it, and I loved their love story. I loved how Romero never gave up on her, and Liliana was just so deeply in love with him. From like, they are meant for each other. And this one was really good. I gave it 4 stars, I believe, or maybe 3. I can't remember. I read it so long ago, but it's a very good one, especially if you're looking for another mafia bodyguard romance. Let's talk about a novella that has this bodyguard slash protector element in it. This is The Guard by Cassie Mint. I gave this one 4 stars, I believe, maybe 3. I read it a little while ago. So it follows Alyssa and Brick. This is a very insta-love, lusty novella. I mean, as you know, like most novellas are. But Alyssa is at this frat party with this dude that her mother set her up with. This is not the first dude that Alyssa gets set up with by her mother. Her mother is very much in her business about who she needs to be dating and blah blah blah. So she's not having a good time and she wants to leave, but she can't just outright leave, you know, because then it'll get back to her mom. So she decides to sneak out of a window, and she doesn't measure the height of said window to the ground, and she ends up falling out and twisting her ankle. But she gets up and starts walking back to her dorm, and this is where Brick sees her limping on campus, and he is a big burly hero, and he instantly feels this connection with Alyssa, and he is instantly attracted to her, and he picks her up and takes her home. After this first encounter, he continues to help her and takes her home every night. He walks her home, he carries her home until she's better. Very much caretaking scenes in this. The pining between these two is insane. Cassie Mint knows how to do pining in her novellas. So Alyssa thinks that Brick doesn't really want her like that, and Brick thinks like there's no way that Alyssa could ever love him or pick him because she is just so beautiful and amazing. And this is their love story. It's super cute. Once they get together, you know, the smut is amazing as well. Cassie Mint knows how to do that. That one's really good. Next one I want to talk about is The Royals Next Door. This one is about Piper. She is a elementary school teacher, but she has an anonymous romance podcast that she does at night. She loves to read romance books and talk about them on her podcast to her listeners. And one day her whole life is just switched over, like flipped upside down. She's getting home one day, and there's this mean grumpy bodyguard blocking the entrance to her house, and he doesn't believe who she says she is because he's supposed to be guarding the area. She doesn't have any of her papers or any identification, which you know why in the book, but he refuses to believe her, and he calls the cops on her. But the cop knows who she is and vouches for her, and the grumpy bodyguard eventually lets her in. So she does live in this neighborhood, but she lives in the servants' quarter of this that was attached to this giant mansion. Like, she lives in a really nice area, but she lives in the smaller servant house right next door that's not attached anymore. Anyways, so Of course, the grumpy bodyguard is Harrison. He is the royals' bodyguard, obviously. They end up deciding to move in to the mansion that's next door to Piper's. So on this continues. Obviously, Harrison isn't Piper's bodyguard, but he is a bodyguard for the royals, and he ends up falling in love with Piper, and Piper ends up falling in love with him. It's very much Grumpy Sunshine. I wouldn't say Piper is the ultimate like sunshine character, but you know, if you had to give him the roles, she would definitely be the sunshine. Harrison is for sure very hesitant in getting into a relationship with Piper, just because how would it work? The royals and Harrison would have to move back to London at some point. Harrison is struggling with some PTSD. He only cares about his job. He is very good at his job. Piper is struggling to be accepted into her community. She never fully got accepted, and there's drama surrounding something that she went through that the whole town knows about, and nobody really took her side in it. But it's a very, very good book. I loved when Piper and Harrison had their moments. I loved how protective Harrison was. He didn't need to protect her, but he protected her because he felt like she was his. They go on these cute little dates. You get to see Harrison get drunk, which was which was funny. I also loved how they fought for each other at the end, and how Harrison had her back in an issue that arises. Overall, it's a very cute rom-com-y book. I would say that it has maybe like a 2 on the spice scale, but there is sex in it. It was very good, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I also love the message behind it. I think you should definitely read it. Alright, so this next one that I want to recommend is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This one I'm cheating a little bit because I have not read this book. But I know that it is a bodyguard princess romance, and I've heard great things. This is usually everybody's favorite. So let me read the synopsis for you guys, just because I haven't read it, so I don't really know anything about it, except that Reese is the bodyguard and Bridget is the princess. So here we go. Stoic, broody, and arrogant elite bodyguard Reese Larson has 2 rules. 1, protect his clients at all costs. 2, do not become emotionally involved ever. He has never once been tempted to break those rules until her. Bridget von Ashburg, a princess with a stubborn streak that matches his own and a hidden fire that reduces his rules to ash. She's nothing he expected and everything he never knew he needed. Day by day, inch by inch, she breaks down his defenses until he's faced with a truth he can no longer deny. He swore an oath to protect her, but all he wants is to ruin her. Take her, because she's his princess, his forbidden fruit, his every depraved fantasy. Regal, strong-willed, and bound by the chains of duty, Princess Bridget dreams of the freedom to live and love as she chooses. But when her brother abdicates, she's suddenly faced with the prospect of a loveless, politically expedient marriage and a throne she never wanted. And as she navigates the intricacies and treacheries of her new role, she must also hide her desire for a man she can't have. Her bodyguard, her protector, her ultimate ruin. Unexpected and forbidden, there is a love that could destroy a kingdom and doom them both. I don't know about y'all, but this sounds so good, and this is gonna be probably my next read, and I want to do a reading vlog for it, so stay tuned for that. But this is the last book that I want to recommend to you guys. Let me know if you've read it down below in the comments. No spoilers. But yeah, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was very like informative and not very rambly. I'm trying to get better with that in my videos, so let me know how I did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.